When an actor-director like Richard Benjamin directs Tom Hanks in The Money Pit, I'm wondering if you see yourself in that role, because a couple of times I had to look twice. It is your kind of role.
Yeah, somebody said that actually for both myself and Paula. It is something we would have loved to have done, but Tom and Shelley, I think, are perfection in it.
Well, why haven't you done it then?
They didn't ask me, they asked Tom. They asked me to direct it. Let me see if I got this right. They asked me to direct it, Tom to be in it, that's right.
But in a way, haven't you done it in a sense for He and She on TV to go back a few years? I love that show. Do you also look back on it fondly?
Yeah, we had a great time. I know it's playing somewhere on cable now, I think, yeah. We had a great time, yeah.
What happened?
Well,
a lot of us wonder what the heck.
I have He and She for the last 24 years, so for me it goes on.
There you go.
Episode after episode. I don't know, we tried to get them to keep it on, but they wouldn't do it.
Does it mean that you were able to feed Tom, however, some sense of that role that came directly from you, or did you trust his instincts primarily?
Oh, his instincts are impeccable. I've never seen anyone like this before. There's not a dishonest move in him. And it's usually in the first 1 or 2 takes or something like that. I learned early on to just trust him. We would change some things or do some things, but he's impeccable.
Both of you have that ability to be bemused amid disasters. How would you describe this kind of role? Because you've done it so well, too.
Yeah, well, that's probably why I like the part. I like him in the part. Somebody who's going to have a little bit of a point of view about this, you know. It's a little bit like, it's sort of gallows humor, you know. And someone says, have you got anything to say? Yeah, I'd like you to take this rope off my neck. That's for starters.
On the whole, I'd rather be in Philadelphia.
Yes, right, right. And I like that attitude in the middle of disaster. Instead of, oh God, this is terrible, I say, things are bad in the kitchen, you know. And one of my favorite readings in the picture is, well, the turkey's done, so's the kitchen. It's a little overdone for my taste. Let's not go there again.
Any experiences you have had refurbishing a house?
Oh, yes, just like everybody else, yeah. Anything we've ever done in a house or an apartment or anywhere are always these very nice, well-meaning guys who come, and the first thing they say, it's that first shake of the head that you know you're in trouble, and say, oh yeah, I haven't seen one of these in a long time. I guess we're going to have to pull most of that out. That's, you know, it's those conversations.
And there's no way to learn except to do it, I guess.
No way, no. And the worst thing you can do is you think you can do it yourself, and then you're finished.
The comedy construction here, Buster Keaton has had a term applied to him called the trajectory gag. I assume you know that term. Let's talk about what a trajectory gag is. We see examples in this film.
What's his description of it?
Well, where one thing triggers another, and it's usually very physical. It's like the interlockings of a clock.
Oh, right, yeah. Right, well, we have those, where one thing sets off something else. The whole ride down that side of the house and what happens to him at the end of that is all of that. One thing leading to another, and hopefully in somewhat of a graceful way. Not.
What, it takes maybe a minute to watch on screen? How long did it take you to shoot?
Let's see, 1985 was last year. It took a while. Yeah, I think it was about 2 weeks to shoot that. It's
a kind of comedy that sometimes Richard Lester works on as well. Is there a particular challenge to it that explains why we don't see it more today?
Yes, it is expensive to do right. It is slightly dangerous. And it has to be perfectly timed or it isn't funny. And it's difficult. I mean, the quickest thing that someone will say okay to in giving a go-ahead to a comedy are funny lines.
Yes,
do you know? So, well, they'll be talking to each other and that dialogue is funny. I pretty well know how this will go. That's a good script. Someone says he gets propelled out of the window and takes a ride down the side of the house and half of the house falls off and he, you know, well, you can that will read on a script in about a third of a page, do you know, and say, wait a minute, you know, this could be anything. This could be something that would be small and would only take a few days to do. This could be done by somebody who was completely insane, said, I need 6 months to do. You know what I mean? So no one quite knows what they're getting into.
And audiences are going to be watching to see you don't cheat too much through editing.
Yes,
too.
yeah. And what's nice about it is that it's not cheated. It's happening in front of you. That's one of the things that intrigued me about doing this picture. There are no, when we say effects, those things are happening with Tom on the film. That isn't something like added later, or optical effects or lasers or whatever. Do you know what I mean? These things are happening. And they seem to be really happening, and they are really happening, although they're safe to a certain degree. I mean, there's a certain amount of danger involved. And that was when Buster Keaton is on that train in The General. He's on a train. He's not on a mat thing of a train. He's on a train that's moving, which is highly dangerous. So,
I'd like to find out if, as a director, you are now at a point where you feel assured about what you're doing, or is there just so much left to do? Is there ever a point where you can say, I'm getting a handle on this now?
No, it runs away from you. It's interesting you say that. It runs away from you the opposite way. The more you know, the more it eludes you, because there's more to do. There's more you can do. The first picture I did, something sort of smiles on you and you sort of have a handle on it, but you don't know a lot of things, do you know? As you find out what can be done in this medium, what the language of this medium is, it expands in front of you.
It's like a beginner usually wins great poker hands until they play more. Then it's tougher.
It's tougher in a way, because you expand yourself, and as you expand, it gets larger.
You mentioned Buster Keaton. Is that slapstick style of comedy especially fun for you?
Yeah, it really is. It really is, to put people into what looks like incredibly dangerous situations and to involve the people in it, do you know? Not to have a guy looking at, oh my God, my house is falling down, do you know? But to have a person in it is what I think is fun.
Also, I'd like to thank you for movies like The Steagle. Is that a good one in your mind, too?
That's my favorite, I guess.
Oh, it's delicious when you're in front of that class as a teacher.
Doing the Willie Mays
Yes.
thing. Oh, good. Not many people have seen this.
That's wonderful. In fact, that's our segue into baseball. The baseball has been very good to the Royals last year.
I'll say.
They're looking at you right now, wondering if you've got any advice. Can they do it again? What they have to do?
Oh, they can do it again. I want them to do it again so the Dodgers can beat them.
Oh, I see.
Yes, I've got it all planned. Yes. Oh, it'll be the Royals and
That'd be an
Los
ideal
Angeles.
matchup, in your opinion?
Perfect.
Yeah?
Yeah, perfect. And then the way it will work out, of course, because the Royals won last year, that I'm sure they won't mind if the Dodgers win this year.
Well, what do we have to watch out for with the Dodgers, then, to get past them? Any hints? Weak spots?
No, I think that the Royals should just be humble during the series and take the loss as best they can.
Richard Benjamin, thank you so much for the Money Pit.
Thank you.
And for those words of advice. We'll check you out in a year and see how things are going. And from Los Angeles, for KCTV5 with Richard Benjamin, I'm John Tibbetts.